to the deep dive. Today, we're really digging into real estate investing. Specifically, that moment you shift gears, from just owning a property to actually getting that steady cash flow.
Exactly. We're assuming you, our listener, already grasped the basics. So today, it's about the execution. How do you move from having a stabilized property to enjoying, well, truly passive income from it?
Yeah, and passive, that's the word we need to pin down first, right? Because
Yep.
it doesn't mean kicking back and doing nothing, especially not in real estate.
Not quite zero effort, no. The sources define it as the money left over after every single expense is paid. And crucially, running the property takes minimal ongoing day-to-day involvement from you.
Okay, minimal involvement. Makes sense. And the appeal is pretty obvious.
Oh, yeah. It's about 1, steady cash flow money you can use month to month to reinvest. 2, financial freedom, getting your time back. And 3, long-term wealth building through that income and the property appreciating. But like you said, getting to minimal involvement takes real work up front.
Totally. And that work kicks off with step one, calculating your actual net passive income. This is where wishful thinking meets reality.
It really is. The basic formula sounds simple. Net cash flow is just total rental income minus total expenses. Easy, right?
Yeah, seems easy. But the details and total expenses can bite you.
That's where the devil is. First, let's be clear on income. It's not just the rent check.
Good point. So, tenant rent, obviously, but what else?
Could be anything the property generates. Maybe laundry machines, extra storage fees, parking spots. You add all that up. Then you start subtracting.
Okay, walk us through the expense list. What absolutely has to be accounted for?
All right, here's the discipline part. You've got your mortgage principal and interest, property taxes, insurance. Those are kind of the fixed ones.
The non-negotiables. Got it.
Then the operating stuff.
Yeah.
Property management fees if you're using a manager, utilities, but only if you, the owner, are paying them.
Okay. And then the reserves, the ones people sometimes conveniently forget.
Exactly. And you need to think about them separately. First is regular maintenance reserves for leaky faucets, small repairs, that kind of thing.
Standard wear and tear.
Right. Second, vacancy reserves. The sources are pretty strict here. They say set aside 5 to 10% of your annual gross rent because properties don't stay full 100% of the time.
That 5–10% feels important. Easy to underestimate turnover time, but what's the third reserve? The really big one.
Ah, yes. The one that trips up so many investors, especially early on. Capital expenditures. CapEx.
Right. This isn't the leaky faucet fund?
Not at all. This is for the big-ticket items, the roof replacement in 15 years, the HVAC system failing in 10, new water heater, things that will happen eventually.
But if you haven't saved for it specifically.
And your income wasn't truly passive, was it? You're scrambling, maybe refinancing or pulling cash from elsewhere. True passive income accounts for these future costs now.
Okay, so let's redo that example from the source material, but maybe more realistically with CapEx baked in. Say rent is $2,000 a month.
All right. Mortgage, let's keep it at $1,200. Taxes and insurance, $300. Now let's add reserves. Maybe $100 for maintenance.
Seems reasonable for ongoing small stuff.
And vacancy, let's use the middle ground, say 5% of $24K annual rent. That's $1,200 a year, so $100 a month for vacancy reserve.
Okay, $100 maintenance, $100 vacancy.
Then now CapEx. You need to estimate the life of major components and save accordingly. Let's say you need $150 a month set aside for future big replacements.
So total expenses now, $1,200 plus $300 plus $100 plus $100 plus $100 plus $150. That's $9,850.
Exactly. So $2,000 income minus under $850 expenses.
Yeah.
Your true protected net cash flow is $150 a month.
Wow, yeah, that's way down from the $300 they initially calculated without proper reserves. Much tighter.
It's tighter, but it's real. It's sustainable. You're not fooling yourself.
Okay, that's a crucial reality check. So once we've got that honest baseline, how do we actually improve it? That leads us to step 2, maximizing passive income.
Right. And there are basically 2 ways to pull this off. Cut your operating costs smartly and increase your revenue streams.
Let's start with costs. How do you cut costs without just, letting the property fall apart?
Preventative maintenance is key. One source mentioned spending a bit each year servicing the HVAC. It saved them thousands compared to emergency repairs and premature replacement down the line.
That makes sense. An ounce of prevention. But hang on, doesn't chasing down vendors for quotes and scheduling preventative work, doesn't that start feeling like a job again, undermining the passive goal?
It can, if you're not smart about it. The trick is focusing on high leverage stuff. Like, instead of getting one-off quotes, maybe negotiate an annual contract with a reliable landscaper or a plumber, lock in a decent rate, less hassle.
Okay, systems again. What else is high leverage?
Challenging your property tax assessment. If you think it's too high compared to similar properties, appealing it takes some focused effort up front, but can result in permanent annual savings. That's a good return on your time.
Smart. Okay, what about the other side? Increasing revenue, beyond just raising rent with inflation.
You need to justify higher rents by adding real value. Think amenities that are actually in demand. Maybe installing secure package delivery boxes, or smart thermostats, or even upgrading the internet infrastructure. Things tenants will pay more for.
What about, like, renting out unused space, garages, storage?
Absolutely. Monetizing every square foot. If there's an unused shed or garage, renting it out separately can add a nice bump to the income.
And then there are the financial moves, right? Refinancing.
Yeah, that's a big one. If rates have dropped significantly since you bought, or maybe your credit score is way better, refinancing could lower your monthly mortgage payment. That's instant extra cash flow.
But there's a catch there, isn't there? Closing costs on a refi.
Always, you've got to run the numbers carefully. Figure out the break-even point. How long do you need to hold the property for the monthly savings to outweigh the upfront refi costs? It's not always a slam dunk.
Makes sense. What about energy efficiency? Does that really move the needle?
It can, if you pay utilities. Things like LED lighting or better insulation directly lower your bills. If tenants pay utilities, advertising a high-efficiency unit makes it more attractive, potentially justifying higher rent because their total housing cost might be lower. Plus, it's good for the planet.
Okay, so we've calculated, honestly, we've optimized smartly. But again, that passive word looms large. If I'm busy negotiating vendor contracts and researching smart thermostats.
You're not passive yet. Which brings us neatly to step 3, reinforcing the passive in passive income. This is all about systems, automation and delegation.
Right. Let's talk automation first. Names like Buildium, RentReady get mentioned. What are these things actually doing beyond just, online rent payment?
Oh, much more. They handle the whole digital side. Think online lease signings, storing documents, managing maintenance requests, routing them to the right person automatically, and crucially, the financial tracking.
The bookkeeping.
Exactly. They categorize income and expenses, generate reports, and make tax time way easier. That alone saves a ton of active management time. It handles the admin grind.
That sounds pretty powerful for streamlining things. But what if you want to be really hands-off, like not deal with tenant calls at all?
Then you need step 3B, delegation, hiring a property manager.
The classic solution. They handle screening, rent collection, maintenance calls, the day-to-day headaches.
They do. They become the buffer between you and the property's operations.
But let's be honest, that costs usually what, 8%, 10% of the gross rent? That eats directly into the net cash flow we work so hard to maximize in step 2.
It absolutely does. It's a direct cost, no question. But the sources argue it's often a necessary cost. If true passivity is your ultimate goal, you have to ask, what's your time worth?
Is that 8% buying you back enough valuable time?
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
Time you could spend finding the next deal or on your main job or just enjoying life. Plus, a good manager might reduce vacancy or secure better vendor rates, partially offsetting their own fee. It's a trade-off you have to weigh.
So automate the admin, delegate the operations, and don't forget the safety net.
Never forget the safety net. That emergency fund, built from those maintenance, vacancy, and especially CapEx reserves we calculated back in step 1, have to be there. It protects the whole system when inevitably something unexpected happens, keeps the cash flow truly passive.
Okay, so we did the math, maximized returns, built the systems. Now we actually have this reliable stream of cash coming in. Step 4, what do we do with it? Reinvesting your passive income.
Right. Don't just spend it. Use it as your growth engine. The sources are really clear on this. This income is a tool to build wealth faster.
Okay, lay out the main strategies for reinvesting.
Strategy 1 is pretty straightforward. Acquisition. Save that cash flow. Build up the down payment for your next rental property. This lets you scale your portfolio using the profits from your existing assets.
Using property income to buy more property makes sense. What about improving what we already have?
That's strategy 2, upgrading. Reinvest some of that cash flow back into your current properties. Maybe renovate a kitchen, update a bathroom. This increases the property's value, justifies higher rents later, and keeps it competitive. Protects your asset.
What if you're getting nervous about having all your money tied up in physical real estate, especially if the market feels hot?
Good question. That leads to strategy 3, diversification. Take some of that rental income and put it into other things. Stocks, bonds, maybe even REITs, real estate investment trusts.
Ah, REITs. So you still get real estate exposure, but without the landlord duties.
Exactly. It spreads your risk. You're not reliant on just one property type or one geographic market.
Okay, acquisition, upgrading, diversification. What's the fourth one?
Strategy 4, debt reduction. Use the extra cash flow to pay down the mortgages on your properties faster. Make extra principal payments.
Why focus on that instead of buying more?
It reduces your risk profile significantly. You cut down interest costs over the life of the loan, build equity faster, and increase your net cash flow even more as the mortgage payment shrinks or disappears. It's a solid, conservative play, especially maybe in uncertain economic times or when good deals are hard to find.
Okay, that covers the full cycle then. From getting the math brutally honest with reserves to optimizing returns smartly, then crucially, building systems for true passivity, and finally, using that resulting income to fuel further growth.
That's the roadmap. It shows that consistent, reliable passive income isn't luck. It's the outcome of disciplined, proactive decisions made all along the way.
It really is. Which brings up maybe a final thought, something interesting from the sources. We talked a lot in step 2 about being proactive, negotiating, upgrading, optimizing.
Right, finding those little edges to boost returns.
But then in step 3, the goal is maximum passivity through automation and delegation. So here's the provocative question. If you lean too hard into optimizing everything yourself, are you actually sabotaging the passive income goal?
That's the core tension, isn't it? How do you balance being a smart, active optimizer with the desire to be a truly passive investor? Where do you draw the line between maximizing profit and maximizing your own time and freedom?
Finding that balance seems like the real mastery. Knowing which optimization tasks to systemize or outsource versus which ones require your active strategic input.
Precisely. It's about making sure you're working on your portfolio strategy, not constantly getting sucked back into the day-to-day operations.
An excellent point to end on. Thanks for breaking down these strategies for really mastering rental cash flow. Hopefully you, our listener, feel ready to tackle those numbers and systems.
Yeah, hopefully this gives you a clear path forward.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.